Yo, we're talking about fantasy today. All right, guys, what is up? Welcome to Run the Point. My name is Nick, and today we have a guest. His name is Ivan. He is one of our friends from a long time ago. Of course, we got our co-host Justin Rivera. How are we doing,
Hey,
guys?
we're good.
Same old. Can't complain.
Just stuck at home, right? Just stuck at
You
home.
feel that? You feel that?
All right, so I mean, today we're just gonna talk about like fantasy basketball, like how how it feels to be in a fantasy league, how to be successful in a fantasy league. I mean, Ivan, you've been telling us stories about how you're in 3-4 leagues and high stakes and things like that. So give me some insight about that and how you got introduced to it.
So currently right now I'm in 4 fantasy leagues. Um, I think one of them is a free league just for fun. Another one is like my high stakes one with like my brother-in-law and his friends. I've been doing that for years.
Hmm.
Another one is with a paid one with my homies, and then another one is another free one actually, with just a group of guys that I know. In terms of first starting fantasy, I pondered upon this question because I knew it was gonna come up, and I actually don't know the first time I played fantasy. I think it obviously starts off with like a group of guys just loving basketball, and we were like, oh, like maybe we should just try out like this fantasy thing and see how it goes.
Yeah.
I started that with like my friends from high school. From there, my brother-in-law was like, "Yo, we have an extra spot for our keeper league. It's like $70 a year, 2-year keeper. Like the pot is massive." So I was like, "Shoot, like I might as well try that, see how that goes."
Hmm.
I will say I have not won in that league yet. Like the
Oh,
big pot. I've
Oh,
only ever won like a regular season.
okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, I'm still like I can't say that like I'm one of the best fantasy owners or whatever, but like I'm still trying to learn the ropes because like it's deep, like it gets deep because you think
Hmm.
about like are we doing a 9 cat, are we doing a points league, is there
Hmm.
8 teams, 10 teams, 12 teams, like it gets super hectic. So yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, in terms of dating myself with fantasy, I think my earliest memory was Alexei Sved playing on the New York Knicks.
Oh,
I think
oh,
that's one of my earliest fantasy memories.
that guy's like a 12th round pick, I feel, or something like that, or like 13th round or
Yo,
some
back
shit.
in the day, Alexei Sved could put up some numbers if you're doing cat leagues, bro. So hey,
Yo, man, like when it's it I when me and Justin started fantasy, there was a time like we were in first year university. It's probably like 2013, and
yeah.
Justin had picked DeAndre Jordan as his very first round pick.
First round 20 when he was with the
Mind
Clippers
you,
though.
LeBron James was still on the board. Like those, like he was like maybe fourth or fifth in the draft, and he picked DeAndre Jordan. But aside from the point, I also fleeced him. I remember we were in class together, and we were like, I'm like, hey, Just, can you swing me Marcus Gasol for like LaMarcus Aldridge? And he's like, yeah, sure. And Marcus Gasol was ripping it, like he was just killing it. I
was
don't
that
know
was that
why.
defensive player of the year,
Yeah, I think
Marcus?
so. I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I I fleeced him, and we were in the middle of class. We pulled the trade, and our group chat went off. It's like, oh, Justin, why'd you do that? Why'd you do that? Blah blah blah. And I'm like, dog, we know nothing about fantasy, and like I
Yeah,
think we played like fantasy like a few years after that, and we were we were first for a little bit, like both of us in both league in all the leagues that we played. We were first, but we were never like we can never like close the gap. But
yeah,
like, what's your preference? Like, what type of league? Like, I know there's like 9 cat,
yeah,
there's Roto, there's points, there's all these,
yeah.
right? Like, what would you say is your preference, and like what have you, like the ones that you have won in, or like you found yourself successful in, like what type was it?
So I've never played Roto. I have no idea how Roto works, so that's off the table. Um, Points League, I will put like second. I will say Points League is one of the easiest, I
Mhm.
think. This is probably hot takes. People are probably get mad. I'm sorry.
That's
Points
your
League is
preference.
probably
That's your preference, though, right?
Points
Yeah.
League is probably the easiest for me just because like you don't got to think about the nine categories, right? And so now like my preference is what I like to play is nine category leagues,
Mm-hmm.
just because you got to think about like free throw percentage, field goal percentage, 3 points made, points, rebounds, assists, steals, blocks, turnovers, and then you got to think about like, oh, if I'm up in field goals right now and I have a guy who takes a high percentage of shots, let's say I have Terry Rozier playing on my team and I'm up like 0.01 of a field goal percentage, like I'm gonna bench him that day if it's a Sunday, right? So yeah, in terms of preference, I would say like nine cats just because you gotta think a little bit harder. Like
Oh.
you gotta think about like um for me what has worked when I did win that regular season and what has worked since then was just going big man, just thinking about like you take like your first overall pick, you take like the best one off the board,
Mm-hmm.
and then from there you just go big. You go field goal percentage, you go rebounding, you get big men that can get a couple steals, and then you get blocks. And then of course with big men they don't get much turnovers like a guard would or a forward would. So like you
Mm-hmm.
solidify maybe like 4 to 5 categories.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of like to play it that way. Like sure everyone wants to win a regular season, but at the end of the day, like all that matters is like, are you making it to the championship game?
Mm-hmm.
Like you can talk
Yeah.
all that smack and talk about like, oh, like I can't hear you from the bottom of like the standings, but like if I'm fifth and I make it to the championship game and I win, I mean, who's really the winner there? The one that won first overall in the season, or the one that won the championship at the end of the day?
Right, right.
So yeah,
That's true. That's true. Well, that's a good strategy. I mean, I never thought of it like that. Like,
yeah,
Yeah.
I think I I think I approach basketball too much like a team game, and even in
yeah,
fantasy, I'm thinking like, oh, who would go well
Like
together? Like,
yeah, yeah,
I approach it like wrong, but Justin, like, let me ask you a question, and this
yeah.
is a hot take.
Mhm.
Why did you pick DeAndre Jordan for that first round pick? And I really want to know
Mhm.
if you made a mistake, or you or you just like you thought he was the best out of that crop in that time.
Well, at that moment, what was going on through my mind was that I thought that I was looking for rebounds, like points, rebounds, and I really thought that DeAndre Jordan was that one player. Like he just came to mind first, like that one player that he could give you um a double night every night, and plus he had good field goal, like averaging around 60% at the time. Oh, I mean, yeah, sure, I could have chosen a better option, but at the end of the day, like I from that year when we did fantasy, I remember I came around like third or fourth, finished third or fourth
Yeah,
though.
yeah,
So I mean, in the end, it all paid out. I mean, yeah, I made some mistakes, made some like shitty ass signs, got police for some trades though. But I think in the long term, you kind of see it all playing, working together, and playing it all out down the
yeah.
line. So,
That's true. Yeah, like
mhm.
then again, at the time, I think there were a ton of options on the board. I think I had like first pick in that draft or like something like that, and I had no. This is years after, but a couple years after, I had LeBron James, and I traded LeBron James away because he was. I ended up getting.
for who?
I don't remember, but it was
Oh,
like
You
I
had
don't
like
remember,
two.
but
I think yeah, like two players traded for him at that time,
I
that
got
year.
a I actually got a 2-for-1.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how I managed to pull it off, but I got like LaMarcus Aldridge and like I don't know, but I got a lot of like categories back. Like I can win a lot of categories back with that one trade, like that one player that I gave up. So I gave up LeBron for two players back,
yeah,
essentially. But I traded like I had signed like a really bad player for that trade to to work out, and then they waived that player at the end of the day, and like it worked out. I didn't win, but yeah, I found myself playing better in Roto because it's just like an accumulation of stats over the whole season. And I was actually playing I was playing with a bunch of like coworkers, and it was this last season, and it was just an accumulation of stats, and I ended up going from the bottom all the way to the top because I had Pascal. So I was like, oh shit, like it's pretty good. And then COVID happened. But yeah, Roto's
But
weird.
for Roto, how do you stay um I guess like into it, because you're not going head to head with people every week? Like
Yeah.
how do you talk smack? Like you can't, right?
You know,
Because
you just talk smack on the standings because you move standings all every week.
see, like for me, I don't like that. Like if I'm going head to head with like Justin, like this week, like I'm talking smack. Like
Talk
yo,
shit.
and like right now, I can't talk smack to my homies because I have JT on COVID list. I got Seth Curry on a COVID list. I
Oh,
got
that's
Bam
unfortunate.
Adebayo on a COVID list. I got Josh Richardson
Yeah.
on a COVID list. Like it's tough right now, man. It's
So
tough.
like, how do you feel about this season though? I mean, like with everything that's going on, right?
Yeah.
Like number one as a fantasy owner, number two as an NBA fan, like there's a bunch of teams postponing their game. I mean, the NBA is postponing like pretty much all the games.
Mm.
Like how do you feel? Like do you feel like the season should continue? Do you feel like they should figure out a different protocol to follow? Like
I will say I'll put the fantasy owner and the NBA fan together, and then I'll put like me as like a human being on another
mm,
side. All
okay.
right. So me as a fantasy owner and an NBA fan, I say like, of course I want them to play basketball. Like
Mm-hmm.
I love playing basketball. It doesn't matter. I mean, watching basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Like even if it's a blowout, like even if like it's like the Knicks playing, which they're playing well, I will say, even if it's like the Washington Wizards playing, like I'll watch basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Um, right now, as a fantasy owner, like it's tough. Like the past week was when most of the COVID stuff started happening, right? So beginning of the week, like you're good. You're like, oh, like we're relatively close. It's 5-4, 4-5, 6-3, whatever, whatever. Ended up losing 6-3 because Bam lost like his game on Sunday. So I mean, in terms of a fantasy owner, like it's tough and it's frustrating because like you can't really do anything about postponed games and guys going on the COVID list and whatever.
Yeah.
Um, but as a basketball fan and as a fantasy owner, like they're talking about having like a 2-week hiatus just to like get everything patted down.
Mm-hmm.
But to be honest with you, I don't think that's going to change anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dudes are
Mm-hmm.
still going to go out in their marketplaces or on the road. They're still going to do whatever. Um, as a human being,
Mm-hmm.
as a health professional, I would say the sports shouldn't be happening right now.
Mm.
Like at the end of the day, like there's unless you get this vaccine and every dude gets like their first and second dose, and they wait like a couple weeks to see how that's affected them, then you know right now I don't think sports should happen.
Mm-hmm.
But money is power, and that's just the way it goes.
Yeah.
Like if they did like an Orlando bubble again, that would probably be like the best option. I don't know why it wasn't possible for them this season. Maybe it might be a logistics or a money thing, but I mean, at the end of the day, uh, at any rate, as a basketball fan, I love it.
Mm-hmm.
As a human being, man, this shouldn't be happening.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
it's it's definitely tough to watch knowing that both of us are in the health field right now, and like we're
yeah,
literally watching like a full blown pandemic, probably a second wave, right? And it's like what do you do? Do you feed the people's sanity with uh with distractions like sports and entertainment, or do you shut everything down? And like basketball has been for a lot of people like a safe haven, right? Like that one distraction that everyone can go to
Mm.
while this whole thing is going over. But like, you know, like if that vaccine gets to them, you know, I don't know, like do you feel like that makes the league more like possible to continue,
I
or
would say like it makes it a lot more feasible to
mm,
do if you get the vaccine.
right?
But I mean, logistically, it's a nightmare, right? Because it's not only players and coaches. You got to think about like refs, table people. You got to think about the media, like in terms of like like the cameramen
Mm,
and all that stuff in the arena. And then you got to think about like arena staff,
right.
that have to clean up and stuff. So like it's logistics nightmare, and kudos to whoever has to like deal with that stuff because that just it's messy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I mean, the easiest thing to do would be to, I mean, the easiest but hardest thing to do would be to
Hmm.
shut down everything, right? But
Yeah.
like I said, it might just be all a money thing, right?
Yeah. That's true. That's true. I mean, the league is based on revenue right now, and like
Exactly.
they need to continue, uh, because of the TV deals. Like they need to continue because of the TV deals, right? So, um, okay. So I want to ask Justin a question. Just
Yes.
if you were to play in a 9 cat league right now,
Mm-hmm.
right? And we're looking at like the full spectrum of players, you know, we're looking at that, right? Let's kind of like let's kind of go through um what you would do, right? Now that you know what Ivan would do,
Mm-hmm.
what would you do to, you know, bolster your roster, make it better? You know, what strategy would you take? Now that you know that, well, Ivan is the most successful out of us three, like
Yeah.
easily.
Easily. Yeah.
But what would you do now to what have you learned from Ivan that you can take onto your
That I can.
fantasy league?
I think moving forward, I think like what one thing that Ivan said, like I think he was mentioning about how like if I want to catch up in field goals, then if there's a certain player that is really like not doing well in field goals throughout the whole week, then I'm just gonna bench him. And like let's say if it's more looking in towards the number. So like if I'm like up in like points, rebounds, assists by a large margin, then I can pretty much just like okay, so who are my guys that are producing that much, a lot of points, rebounds, assists? So it's like, yo, just put them in, and then guys that need to like, guys that need like categories that needs to catch up on, then that's where I look at players who I think can provide that lift into catching up into that category.
True.
No,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's a lot of stuff, man. I mean, like like being consistent with updating your rosters every week. Like
Hey, I will say,
how do you attack that? How do you attack that, Ivan? Like
I will say, just going on what Justin says,
mhm.
before I answer your question,
Yeah, yeah.
a lot of dudes just think like, oh, I'm gonna set my lineup for the week and I'm just gonna let it go, right? Like I'm gonna play every single player every single day that they're playing, right?
Mhm.
A lot of people don't know that like you can, I mean, that you can bench a player. They don't have to play that week, right? So like Justin was saying, like you have a guy, like you're up in field goals, but like a slim margin, or you're up in turnovers by a slim margin. And let's say you have like me personally, I have Giannis.
Mhm.
So Giannis can either like, light it up, or he's gonna shoot a bunch of threes and destroy my freaking field goal percentage, right? Or he could like pass the ball really well and get a triple double, or he's gonna give me like 4 turnovers. So like if I'm up 7-2 and I'm up in like points, rebounds, assists, like by a huge margin, I might just bench Giannis, you know?
Mm.
So, a lot of dudes don't think about that. A lot of dudes just set their lineup for the week, just like, press the start active players button and just go with it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But like you
Yeah.
gotta think, you gotta think about like your matchups, like, what the other, even I look at like other managers' teams and
Yeah.
see like, oh, who do they have playing today? And they're like, well, he has Terry Rozier and he's gonna play Terry Rozier, and Terry Rozier's gonna go 4 for 20. with 5 turnovers. So,
Yeah.
and I can say that confidently because I have Terry Rozier on one of my teams. So,
Yeah.
in terms of keeping up to date with your lineup, I mean, right now is one of my first times playing in a 12-man league, and 12-man leagues are tough. Like, they are tough because it's slim pickings on that waiver wire, right?
Yeah.
So, I will say it's just like every day I wake up, if I have the time, I will go and open up the app and just look through all of my leagues and just see like, oh, like, oh, what did this person drop? Or like, who's the most added for today?
Mhm.
Or, like who's the most rostered on this like free agency list? And I'll see like, oh, can I run a flyer on this person? And a flyer is like the greatest one right now, greatest example of that would be Tyrese Maxey
Oh,
on
yes,
the
yes.
Sixers, right?
He dropped 39 points that one time
Dropped
ever since they
39.
all got benched. Yes.
Yeah, he's a great flyer right now. Like if you got a dude, like for me, I have 3 dudes on a COVID list.
Mhm.
One of them is Seth Curry, so I'm like, shoot, might as well pick up Tyrese Maxey, see how that goes.
Mhm.
That's a flyer. But then you gotta think about like, is there somebody on my team that I can give up for that flyer or for like a short term, like 2 week, 3 week, kind of production, drop some off my team and have them not get picked up,
Mm.
or,
That's the risk.
exactly. And you got to think about like, is it worth that risk? So, I mean, personally for me, back when I had much more time on my hands, of course, like I would be on that waiver wire. Like it'd be Pacific time, right? For the waiver wire to roll back over. So 3 a.m. in the morning, I'm there, man. I'm trying to see like what these be like 3 a.m. on a Thursday when that waiver wire starts, bro. Like I am in there. Now it's like, man, like if I get somebody I don't like, I just missed out on Al Horford on my 12-man or a 12-team league, and I'm
Mhm.
cheesed because the way we did it was just like rolling waiver and like waiver priority, which I hate. Waiver priority pisses me off, but I mean, it is what it is.
True.
But yeah.
True.
That's a lot. I mean, like, you
Yeah.
even touched on another question that I was gonna ask you and talk about the
Yeah.
waiver wire, because
Yeah.
I know the waiver wire is really, really, it's all strategy and knowing who's who and what's what and what's going on, and like who's starting, who's being benched. I guess who's
Hmm.
on COVID, on the COVID seat or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's huge. So any Justin, any other questions that you have?
So how do you feel? Let's say if you like, because there's a lot of strategy and a lot of like things to want to look out for though. How do you
Mhm.
manage to keep track as well too of like other players' movements, other players' intentions as well too, like your other people like who you're like, let's say you're doing 12 cat. How do you keep track of like everyone's intentions, like their strategy, and how does that play into what it is that you want to do that would help one up your other opponents?
So, I would say I think the biggest thing for me would just to be like just watch what people are doing on that waiver wire, like like
Mhm.
recent league activity or whatever. Just see like, oh, this person, like in one of my leagues, if my homie ever watches this, like he's gonna flame. But if you're in a 12-man league and you're dropping Kelly Oubre, like bro, it's slim pickings on that waiver. I lost out because I didn't get waiver priority, but like I said, it's all about like just watching what people are doing and their movements and stuff. Um, in terms of strategizing against a manager, there's not really much that you can do because like I said, personally for me, I usually go into a league and I think maybe I'll go big man and I'll pick a bunch of bigs and just win 5-4 like all the way through. Sometimes it works, sometimes
Mhm.
it doesn't, right? So you don't really strategize against a specific manager per se. You just kind of do your own strategy and hope that it works against theirs.
Okay.
Um, like if you play dudes that are experienced, like I have in my keeper league, it's tough, man. Those dudes are crazy. Like those dudes, like if you want to have a fantasy conversation, they're so deep into it and like they do their research. They like see like, oh, starting lineups for this off season is one of the best times because you look at the movement of rosters, who's going to get priority, who's first, second, third scoring option. Like, for example, Aaron Baines early in the season, like Aaron Baines is a starter. So we say, oh shoot, Aaron Baines isn't giving me a double-double, right? 10 points, 10 rebounds, maybe a block, maybe an assist, right? And then lo and behold, I mean, he doesn't really work in the offense, right? So he ends up being just like one of those waiver wire dumps again. So I never took that chance on Aaron Baines. You know, like you take a chance on Kyle Lowry, Fred VanVleet, Pascal Siakam, and like maybe a Norman Powell at like the 12th round. Other than that, like I don't know. Like it's tough to say like how you would approach a week against a manager. You kind of just like set your lineup for the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. On that Wednesday or Thursday, you kind of say like, oh, if I'm up 6-3 or I'm down 3, whatever, 3-6, like what do I need to do? If you're down, there's nothing you can really do, to be honest with you. Like sometimes your mans aren't playing. Like right now, my first overall pick in my keeper league was Devin Booker. And I thought in my mind, I'm like, yo, Devin Booker's gonna go off, right? He has Chris Paul to pass him the ball. Offense is gonna run through him. He's been playing kind of buttons, and it's annoying me. But it's like you live and die on your picks, man. And it is what it is, you know. So
yeah. Okay. And to follow it up, like how do you also like find out like know which players like have this prediction of like, yo, I know that this player is gonna go off, like that player is gonna produce this amount of like how do you predict that? Like what do you think?
I think for me it's really based on how long the player's been in the league and how well they did the previous 1 or 2 seasons and have they progressively gotten better. So I think one of the 2 better examples of that would be one, Bam Adebayo. He's off to a slow start, but I fully believe that he's gonna go back into like the Bam that we saw last year, who was almost a triple double. You know, like 20 10 6. You know, steal and a block, couple of threes maybe. And another one would be Fred VanVleet, right? It's all determinant on the player's like situation. So, you know, Fred VanVleet would be a good one just because Fred VanVleet got a contract. And then you got to think about like, that's another thing. You got to think about contract years, right? So if a player's going to a contract year, they're going to ball out to try and get that money, right? So you want to have that player on your team because they're going to play like ridiculous amount of basketball, right?
Yeah.
But in terms of just finding out how the player will do that season, I think it's just more like intuition. I think the more you play or the more that you key into basketball and the more you watch basketball, the more that you play fantasy, I think you start getting like this intuition of, oh, this player's going to go off or this player's going to be buns, you know? So, I mean, there's not really, I can't really give you like advice to, you know, tell you like, oh, like look out for this player, look out for that player. It's more like watch basketball, you know, see how the season's going, see how the team works, you know, like, I mean, James Harden is one of the like top 5, top 4 picks in fantasy right now. And you see what's going on in Houston. He's still gonna ball out, right? So you're still gonna like take that pick on him. Or every year it's like, oh, do I take the chance on LeBron James? You always take the chance on LeBron James, right? Because it's LeBron James, right? Yeah. So it's stuff like that. Or like, shoot, I missed out on Steph Curry. I wanted Steph Curry so bad because I knew Steph Curry was gonna ball out.
Drop 60 at that one game.
60. Oh my god, I want him on my team so bad. Yeah.
Or and what about like, let's say, do you when you do the draft night, sometimes you see like the best pick available, like the app recommends you to choose the best. Do you follow that, or let's say sometimes you just go against it? Like, what do you think? Would that be the best option?
I say for me, like Yahoo's rankings are kind of buns. Like I don't know why that's not. I can't even describe it. It's terrible. Like even the rolling season ranks are terrible. It goes like per game, and like they have like Tyrese Maxey like top 10 probably right now just because he scored 39 points one game. But
Yeah.
I personally go ADP, which is average draft position. So I'll
Mhm.
start with that. Like, like I'll have like my way of drafting players and what I want to do for that year. But I usually go average draft position and just scroll down and see if like, if I'm missing a player, and like it's always dependent on your position of that draft too. Like you draft first, you get
Mhm.
that one overall pick, and then you don't pick again for like how many picks? 20-ish picks, like you have to be smart with your picks.
Yeah.
Or like you pick last, like you get back-to-back picks and you don't pick again for 20 picks. Like it's the worst.
You-
And I know it because it's happened to me 2 years in a row and it pisses me off. But
Oh.
it is what it is, right? So I mean, dependent on the round, I guess you could take best man available. I think like first, second, third-ish round, I guess you can go best person available. Um, Thereafter, like you just kind of like try to see who's going to be the best player on their team, and who's going to give you the most amount of value at their position at their draft round.
Mm. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and lastly, what about making trades with other managers? How do you set yourself? What do you use your goes through your head when you decide to make trades with other managers?
I think about like I don't really like making trades this early in fantasy just because you don't really know how well your team's going to do.
Mhm.
Um, in terms of what I think about when I do get a trade offer though is like one is how many plays do I have at that position? Like does it fit my team? And am I able to play all the guys that I want to play?
Mhm.
Two is am I losing value? Like if you want to take Giannis away from me, you're not giving me like a Terrence Ross, you know,
Of course, you
right?
got to give up
Of course,
something.
I know like it's simple. It's simple to say, but some dudes just offer some dumb fucking trades, and you're just gonna look at it and you're gonna be like, "Are you kidding me?" Like, are you? I remember at one of our fantasy chats, one dude was like, it was like OG Ananobi for like some like top like a third round pick. I don't know what player it was, but like that's not happening in any world. Or like, oh, there's another one, LaMarcus Aldridge for like James Wiseman. I mean, like, um,
Uh,
yes, but no. Like, am I gonna take an aging LaMarcus Aldridge that isn't really the first option? No, for
no.
James Wiseman, who's probably like their best center. Sorry, Kevon Looney. Sorry, but I mean, it's James Wiseman. He's gonna get that run, right? But yeah, that's what I think about. I think about like it's also like if I'm playing with my homies, it's like, am I really gonna give you this trade? Like, like, and it's also like, do I like this player like in real life, right? Like, do I?
Oh,
Because sometimes you kind of just draft and get like, me personally, I know it's stupid to say because it's not very strategic, but it's like at least in one of my teams, I would like to have a Toronto Raptor, you know,
oh,
and funny enough, in my other league, I have three Toronto Raptors. So, but it's okay. It's a points league. So, shout out Pascal for the triple double. But
Yo, he's gonna average. I feel like we're gonna see a lot more of those this season.
I like to
yeah.
hope
So
so, man.
I feel like we are because he's. I don't know. I have a lot to say about that, but we can
I
talk
yo,
about that.
it's a loaded question that I
That's
have
oh,
been trying to talk to
that's a
people
next
about.
pod. That's a next
That's a
podcast.
next pod. That's a whole
that's
forum,
another one.
bro. Oh my god.
So all right. So uh, we're gonna run a game called Who He Play For.
Oh,
So
I love this. I love this.
you
I'm not
guys
Charles
watch
Barkley though.
you guys watch Inside the NBA. You know Barkley, Shaq,
Mhm.
Kenny, and Ernie. We're gonna play 10 players.
All
Okay, I've
right.
got a
Mhm.
list. I've got the whole NBA here on my
Yeah.
second monitor. I pulled it up. So
Justin, no cheating. I have a second
Uh,
monitor too. No cheating.
Yeah, me too. Okay, no.
if you guys cheat, I'll know. I'll know because
Yo,
I don't want to hear
you'll
no
get it
clacks. I
right.
don't want to hear no
You'll get it
clacks
right,
on your
and it's-
fingers, bro.
This is hard, man. Okay, so
All right,
Alright,
I'm
I'll
ready.
do my best. Yeah.
okay, so how it's gonna work is I'll ask the question. I'll say the player. I'll give you like 5 seconds to think. Then just say the name one at a time. Justin, you'll go first. Ivan goes second, and then you guys switch every round.
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
And then yeah. So we'll start with let's start easy. We'll do Ignis.
Oh yeah, I know you're gonna. I knew this name was gonna come up too. That's easy.
Oh.
That's easy.
Okay.
Easy money.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Justin,
New York.
Ivan.
New York Knicks.
Yeah. Okay. So 1-1.
I knew my guy Ignis was gonna come up, bro.
I had to. That's I said. Let's start easy.
Let's start.
But wait till I start throwing out some random ass names.
Don't worry.
All right. So the next player is Isaac Bonga.
Oh
Easy money.
fuck.
Am I first? I'm first, right?
Yeah. So we're gonna
Okay.
3, 2, 1. Ivan.
Me first. Yeah. All right.
Yep.
Washington.
Philly. Philly.
Washington.
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 Oh.
Easy money, baby.
So it's
Easy
2-1.
money.
Justin was like, "Oh shoot, man, this is hard." Like,
Yeah, this-
all right. All right, let's go with Daniel Oturu.
Who? Daniel Oturu. Oh my. Daniel.
3,
Oturu.
2, 1. Justin.
Oh, Cleveland.
Ivan.
I was gonna go Cleveland, but I think it's Orlando.
LA Clippers.
LA Clippers. What? The...
All right.
That's a two-way player.
Let's
That's
go
it,
with
yeah.
let's go with a familiar face. We're gonna go with
All right.
Bruno Caboclo.
Oh,
Okay, not bad.
I'm first.
Yeah,
now,
Ivan's
right?
first, yeah.
All right.
Mhm.
You ready?
Yeah, the Houston
what is it?
Rockets.
Justin?
Toronto Raptors.
You're annoying. You're annoying. You know that's wrong. You
Wait,
know
wait,
that's
Bruno.
wrong too.
Bruno Caboclo.
Bruno Caboclo.
Bruno. Wait,
Oh,
that.
man, this-
Are you
wow,
serious?
this is crazy.
Wait,
This guy's crazy.
Bruno.
Look, go on your second monitor. Look up the roster right now for the
Yeah,
Toronto
so
Wait,
he's
Raptors.
on,
he
This
he's
guy's
played-
on
terrible.
Houston.
He played like.
He played for Toronto. Who he played for now, though?
Oh, who he played for now? Oh, okay.
This guy
Yeah,
doesn't
he-
know the game. He doesn't
Okay.
know the game.
We're moving on. So Ivan, you have 3. Justin, you have 1. We're on the 6th round because you guys didn't get Daniel Oturu. So we're gonna go with.
We're on the 6th round. Does that mean we're on the 5th round? I don't know. Whatever.
No, you
Continue.
guys missed 1. And
Anyway,
it's-
continue.
it's,
Continue.
I asked
Continue.
five people.
Did you? Who did I get wrong?
Did you get
Daniel
Oh,
Oturu.
no. Oturu.
I only got
So-
Oturu wrong.
You both got Oturu wrong, and then you guys. Oh yeah, 5th round. I
Fifth
like.
player.
Fifth
Fifth
round.
player.
Yeah, fifth
player. Fifth player.
Okay, so this is our 5th player right now. Okay. Svi Mikhailuk.
Easy. Get this out.
See
Get this out my
Mikhail.
face.
This is Justin's. So
Oh,
go ahead.
Sacramento.
Peja
Ivan?
Stojakovic. What's wrong with this guy?
Ivan?
Detroit Pistons.
Yeah, so it's Detroit. So
Oh,
Sacramento.
Detroit
Sac-
basketball.
basketball.
Honestly, it's, okay. Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna pull up some more familiar names, and we'll see.
All right.
We'll see. Yeah.
Thon Maker.
I learned about this one recently. This one I didn't know, but I know now.
Oh shit!
Ivan?
I remember.
I'm first.
Yep.
The Cleveland Cavaliers.
Justin.
The Cleveland Cavaliers.
You're cheating.
You're cheating. You're just going off what I'm saying.
That-
You go off
I'm
what
not
I'm
giving that
saying.
point to Justin.
But who is it?
Okay. Cleveland.
Okay.
He's
Yeah,
like their
yeah.
third string center. I'm like,
The
yo, why would
third
this trade?
string.
He's like their third string center on the depth chart. I'm like, bro, that they got such a deep roster, and Kevin Love's not even
Yo,
playing.
I didn't even know that JaVale McGee is on that team. I totally forgot about that one.
He got
Oh.
traded. He got traded
Yeah,
there.
traded,
They got
I
a
forgot
pretty
about
good
that.
team. They're a pretty good young team. I like their team. So I'm trying to look at some real. Okay. KZ Okpala.
Okpala. Yep. My boy KZ.
Justin?
Easy. Houston?
That's the wrong red, baby. It's the Miami Heat.
Ivan? Miami?
Miami.
It's Miami.
It's the Miami Heat,
Yo,
baby.
Ivan,
It's the wrong red.
yo, Just Ivan's crushing you. It's like 5-1 right
Oh, my 5-1. Okay, wow. Like all these. Okay, wow.
Yo,
Yeah,
every time I
6-1.
watch Inside the NBA and they play this, yo, I'm like, yo, I'd crush this. This is
Okay,
easy,
I'm,
You
man.
know
gonna
that.
I'm gonna start letting Justin answer first because clearly Ivan knows what the hell is going on. So we got 4 more players.
Mhm.
We got 4 more players.
Mhm.
All right.
Mhm.
Let's go with. Ooh, I don't want to be too.
No. Go ahead.
I don't want to be
Yeah.
too easy, but Isaiah Roby.
Isaiah Rowe. Isaiah Rowe.
All right, Justin, go ahead.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna say Atlanta Hawks.
Ivan.
I think he plays for Detroit. No?
OKC.
OKC.
Oh,
I knew it was one of like the
OKC.
blue colors. I was like,
Yeah,
he's in a blue jersey somewhere.
Okay. 3 more players. We are going with Facundo Campazzo.
Pardon me?
Confundo.
I think I know.
Campazzo.
Is he
think
like
I know.
Italian?
I think yeah. He's
Three.
Italian.
2, 1. Justin.
The Pelicans?
The Memphis Grizzlies.
Denver Nuggets.
Oh man.
Denver Nuggets.
I knew he was in the
Oh.
West.
Denver Nuggets.
Man, I'm freaking out right now. I knew that one. I heard that name too because he that nasty. What
Keep
did he
that
do? Some nasty like dime.
He's
during the
good.
preseason.
He
Yeah.
was a really good international player before coming. All right, easy name. I hope Justin can get this because I know Ivan can get this.
Yeah, go ahead.
DeLon Wright.
Oh, easy. That guy sucks in fantasy right now. I'll say
Justin.
that.
Oh, I don't want to mess this up, but Memphis Grizzlies.
I mean, fair
don't
enough.
wanna
He played
mess
with
it
them
up?
last season. He played with them last season. Not this season though. He plays for Detroit this season.
Detroit.
Pistons.
Oh,
Detroit Pistons.
He plays for the Pistons,
Detroit
baby.
Pistons. Oh.
Okay, and here's a popular draft meme. So I don't know if you noticed, but every time they do the draft, well, when they had the audience, Mark Tatum would go up to the podium for the second round, and Woj would bomb Twitter before the pick comes out. So someone would yell like, Boban Marjanovic, and then Mark Tatum would come out and be like, the Sacramento Kings select Boban Marjanovic. Like, so here's a name that was very, very, it actually stuck in my head, and it actually happened on live TV. So Edmund Sumner.
My guy Edmund Sumner.
Edmund Sumner.
Who he play for?
Who he played for? Yeah. Who he played for?
Who
Justin.
He plays in NBA.
Edmund Sumner. I'm gonna say Charlotte.
You throwing out real like
Indiana Pacers.
Yeah, he's in the Midwest, my guy. He's in the Midwest.
Oh. Okay.
All right. So yeah, Indiana Pacers. And our last one. Our last one is, man, I gotta go on a different website now. I wanna
Okay.
stump both of you.
Yeah. Make it spicy. Make it spicy.
Make
I
it
want it.
Oh my gosh. I searched a website and Gladiator's website came up instead.
Hey,
Lol.
shout out
Hey.
Gladiators. Just going basketball reference.
I want to make it juicier than basketball reference. I want to see if you guys know what's going on right now.
Oh,
Bet.
okay.
I know Justin
Okay.
doesn't. He doesn't know who Edmund Sumner plays. He doesn't know
All
who
right,
Bruno Caboclo play for right now. That's
Ready?
crazy.
Ready? And this is gonna shock you both.
All right.
He
Mhm.
played for Gary Payton II.
Oh, I know who he played for. That's easy. What?
Gary
That's gonna stump
Payton.
me?
Gary
Justin.
Payton the second.
Yeah.
I think Gary Payton the second. I'm gonna say.
See the Milwaukee Bucks.
I'm gonna
I'm
say
just joking.
Miami Heat.
This guy went back.
Gary Payton played for the Miami
Gary Payton
Heat.
played for Miami Heat.
Gary Payton the second. Yo, Nick, I'm just gonna be honest with you, bro. I am disappointed that you thought that I didn't know this.
It's not gonna stump you. I know it's not gonna stump you, and I know you. I know you enough. Where is he
He
playing?
was Toronto, the Raptors 905 first round pick in this past G League draft.
Yeah.
In this G League. Oh.
Justin's like, what?
That
Oh.
one was mean. That one was mean.
That one was mean.
I was hoping someone would know, and I know, Ivan. I know you're as much a Raptors fan as I am. So
Hey, I've been to 905 games, man. I enjoy those.
yeah.
No.
Courtside's only like $80, man. Like it's,
Hey,
it's
well, that's
not
what
that
I'm
bad.
saying, bro.
All right, well, this is fun.
Yeah.
Really liked having you on,
Yeah,
Ivan.
man.
I hope you can join us for a couple more episodes, or I don't know how
Yeah,
many more in
bro.
the future, but
I'm down. I'm always down.
Yeah,
especially
man.
especially if Justin's here and makes me look good with my basketball. I mean, shoot, I'm down.
All right, man. So on
right.
behalf of my co-host Justin and our guest Ivan, I want to thank everyone for listening and have a great day. Peace.
Peace.